Hi guys, for this TV news story critical analysis, I went on and found two TV news stories, one from SABC News and one from eNCA. That being said, let's check out our first TV news stories from SABC News.
And thanks so much for watching us here on Morning Live. Now, scores of Johannesburg residents, mostly small businesses and tavern owners, have been flocking to liquor outlets from as early as 6 o'clock this morning. This, of course, following the unbanning of the sale of alcohol. Under level 2 of the lockdown, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that alcohol can now be sold, but only on Mondays to Thursdays between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. So for more on this story and what's currently happening, we cross live to our reporter Griselda Lewis, who is in Roodepoort, to give us a sense of what's happening out this morning. Griselda, good morning. So where exactly are you? Tell us what's happening there.
Well, that's right, Sakina. Very good morning to you. And in fact, some of those business owners are already in this queue here behind me. The queue not quite snaking just as yet this morning, but I'm expecting that to change over the next couple of hours. And indeed, while others may say this is a reprieve, their throats have been dry for a while. It certainly also does come as a reprieve for those who are running businesses. And without much delay, I'm going to chat to some of them here this morning. A very good morning to you, sir. Thanks indeed for your time. I understand that you run a business. This certainly must come as quite a relief for you.
It came at exactly the right time. So many businesses have closed down. For 5 months, we all had our hands tied, especially businesses that depended on alcohol sales as most of their business. We had to diversify and change things up, become solely a takeaway place. But now, it came at exactly the right time. A lot of places were in the process of almost closing their doors now.
And running a business, I mean, how much time do you think it's going to take for you to recoup in terms of or recover from the losses that you've had as business?
Sure, our hands are still sort of tied because, you're limited to a certain amount of people inside, social distancing. I understand it's a global pandemic. We are all suffering. We all need to come together, keeping a distance, obviously, but come together and help each other out. It's still going to be a bit of a while for us to get back to normal. Months, yeah. But it's coming at the exact right time, and we just hope the rug isn't going to get pulled out from under us again.
Thank you very much for your time. And I must tell you, Sakina, social distancing is certainly something that has been kept here at this particular liquor outlet. And they're ensuring that, of course, that social distancing, recall, of course, that they have to continue with some of those non-pharmaceutical methods to keep safe. And this is what certainly some of these liquor outlets are doing. Let me chat to this gentleman here. Was not really here for, is it any business, running any business? No. Your throat has been dry for a while, hasn't it?
Not actually. I was making some pineapple beer, but yeah, it's a bit too strong for me. And I'm looking for my usually drink, and that's brandy. So yeah, I'm here to purchase some brandy, and yeah, that's it.
All right. So what time did you arrive here this morning?
It was around 7 o'clock. And yeah, it's a bit cold, yeah. But it's worth the wait. So yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. You heard there, Sakina, a pineapple beer. I'm probably going to get into a little bit of trouble for that one. But let me bring in this gentleman as well. And you are running a business with your uncle. Is that correct? It must have been a tough couple of months.
Tough, very tough. We had to drink pineapple. And pineapple is not good, eh? Yeah, but it's open now. We're doing it again.
Yeah. But tell us a bit about, I know you just recently started joining your uncle in his business. I mean, how tough has it been for you as a family with, of course, the ban that was in place?
Like, to getting in the business now is like, it's running up and down. It's busy, eh? Yeah, and like, I'm a few weeks now in the business.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going good. It's a good start for me.
Yeah. And tell us, I mean, your uncle must have been quite, complaining about the ban itself, because you were telling me that your uncle doesn't work and this is his sole way to survive.
It's his sole way to survive. Because it was hard for us during the lockdown, it was tough. Yeah. But now when the alcohol ban is open, everything is good, going smooth again.
Yeah.
But just everyone must sanitize and must keep the place clean.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much indeed. So just some of the sentiments being shared, Sakina, here this morning, while others are certainly here for leisure to come and pick up their favorite drink. But what I'm really getting most here from some of those in these lines at the moment is the fact that, they are hoping to start their businesses again, while there are still some restrictions that are in place, of course, in terms of the number of patrons who could be inside, for example, these restaurants which have now been given the go-ahead to sell alcohol. It's somewhat of a reprieve for them in this particular instance. They say it's going to take a very long time for them to recover. However, they say this is a step in the right direction. I'll just show you towards that direction. If we could ask SABC cameraman Tula Munara, you'd see there in just a couple of moments. What exactly is the time at the moment? 8:26. So in about a half an hour's time, we'll be expecting the doors to open here. Some of the workers inside this particular store making sure, you'd see there, what they're bringing through is, of course, the sanitizer, which, of course, everyone is going to have to use once they come in here. And the gentleman just locking at the moment, making sure that once everything gets underway, or once that sale is allowed starting at 9 o'clock this morning, they are going to be able to serve these customers.
Well, thank you so much, Chrisella Lewis, of course, who will be out and about today. No doubt some of our other journalists across the country as well. Do stay with us here on SABC News, and we'll, of course, bring you up to speed. It will be interesting to see, and hear from those who are in the queues, how many of them are there for cigarettes, because the cigarette ban, of course, has been much longer. So we'll take a break and, of course, come back looking at the time. Yeah, we'll bring you headline news after that.
So after watching that story from SABC News, I think that the headline was accurate. It was not misleading. It told exactly what was going on in the story. I also like what Chrisella Lewis did in the story in terms of interviewing a lot of different people without making a story sound or look vox popperish. She answered all the questions I had, including the people who were interviewed in the story that I had about the alcohol industry as soon as Mr. President announced the country will be moving to level 2. It answered all the 5 W's and an H. I was engaged throughout the story. So with that being said, let's move on to our second story, that being from eNCA News.
Now, South Africans are allowed to move around the country for leisure. This morning, we'll check out if people are flying to different provinces under the new normal. eNCA reporter Heidi Jokos is at OR Tambo International Airport and joins us now live. Heidi, are we seeing any difference in terms of the influx of people coming to the airport now that we're allowed to travel to other provinces?
Yes, indeed, Maseko, we are definitely seeing a difference. When I was here in June, when business travel was allowed, it was very, very quiet, and it's a completely different picture now. Of course, it's not exactly the same pre-COVID, but we are definitely seeing people being brave enough to travel for leisure purposes under level 2. But we are joined by the general manager of OR Tambo International Airport, Bongiwe Piche Vukwana. Thank you so much for your time, Bongiwe. Just perhaps speak to us about the measures that OR Tambo has put in place to put South Africans more at ease being able to travel under level 2.
So under level 2, there are a number of measures in place. The first one is that no mask, no travel. And as passengers arrive at the airport, they will then be directed through to the check-in area. When they get here, once they are done with check-in, they will go for the completion of the health travel form, and then thereafter their temperature will be taken. In the event that there is a challenge, the temperature is escalated, they will not be allowed to board a flight. And once they've passed through those health security controls, they will then need to go through security, wherein there is no petting of a passenger anymore. All of the metal items on them, they will need to remove themselves and place them on a tray that is sanitized after each use.
Are you guys seeing an influx of people coming in? about 2 months ago when business travel was allowed, it was a very different picture. But are you seeing an influx of people being brave enough to travel under level 2?
Yes, we are. So when we started with level 3 in June, on a daily basis, we're seeing about 1,000 passengers traveling through, but now we're seeing about 3,000 passengers per day traveling through, which accounts for 10% of our original traffic.
And then just lastly, Bongiwe, perhaps can you assure South Africans that they'll be safe, that enough measures are put in place? We know that the airport is a hive of activity and there's an influx of people coming in and out, with many concerned about whether the virus is here or not. But can you assure South Africans that enough measures are being put in place to protect them, not only in the airport, but also in the aircraft, as many have raised concerns about the safety of that?
There are enough measures in place. There's a lot of sanitization points. We also have staff that are able to direct passengers in the event that they're not aware of where to go next. And where there are health concerns, we have a clinic at the airport. Inside an aircraft, given the filters that are inside the aircraft, it is also safe to be inside an aircraft. So passengers are safe here, and the spike in the number of travelers tells us that.
Great, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. So there you have it, Masego. I think we can get a sense from the General Manager of Tambo that measures have been put in place. Of course, many South Africans might still be a little bit wary and cautious, but from the numbers that we are seeing, it seems as though people are brave enough and cannot wait to go on holiday or go back home and visit their families in other provinces.
So quite similar to the SABC News story, eNCA also did the same thing. I mean, the headline was accurate, the graphics was accurate, everything was accurate. It also answered the 5 W's and an H. I was engaged throughout the story. However, I felt that like some parts in the story, I could have edited out. But I understand that it was a live crossing, so some things you cannot edit out when it's a live crossing. But I felt like it was too long. It dragged on for too long. So I think I would conclude by saying that SABC News story was perfect in terms of it being perfect for TV, for packaging purposes, for variety purposes, for time purposes. So in this instance, I would not personally prefer SABC News story, but I think that journalistically it makes sense to choose stories that answer the 5 W's and an H, that keeps the viewer engaged but does not drag for too long.